All right, well, the 49ers just got destroyed by the Kansas City Chiefs on the field right behind me here at Levi Stadium. 44-23, the final score. So it's a multi-touchdown loss. It was the worst defensive performance during the Kyle Shanahan regime. I mean, just put that into perspective. The 49ers, before garbage time in this game, allowed 10.2 yards per play. Even with the kneel downs, Kansas City gained 9.1 yards per play. We haven't seen anything close to that from the 2017 49ers defense, from the 2018 49ers defense, even the 2020 game with Brian Allen, remember the practice squad cornerback against Miami? The 49ers had a better defensive allowance than they did today. Kansas City would have scored 7 straight touchdowns had the clock not been an issue at the end of the first half. It was the clock that forced them to kick the field goal there. They shouldn't have kicked it on third down, in my opinion, but they did. It was 3rd and 20. They missed the field goal. So that would have been 7 straight possessions with points. And if the clock wasn't an issue, you would have had Kansas City go 7 straight touchdowns in this game. So let's put it this way. This 49ers defense is not elite. Far from it. They looked elite to start the season. Now they're not. Maybe they'll finish the season better. They still have 10 games to go. These are marathons. They're not sprints. This is just another chapter in the novel. So we have to wait to see what this 49ers defense is going to be about when it's all said and done. But right now they have major issues. And today the issues stretched to both sides of the football, right? And to both phases of defense, run defense, pass defense, front, secondary, all this and all that. But I believe that all of football starts in the trenches. It's a physical game in the trenches, and the 49ers just got mauled by Kansas City on both trenches. We're going to talk about all the penalties. We're going to talk about some of the mistakes that the 49ers made from a tactical vantage point. But at the end of the day, this is football. And if you lose in the trenches in football, stuff is just going to be bad. You're losing in the trenches in football sets your team up to be destroyed the way the 49ers were destroyed today. I'll give you a couple stats. In Super Bowl 54 against the Kansas City Chiefs, the 49ers pressured Patrick Mahomes 31 times, and they obviously racked up a handful of sacks. I believe it was 5 sacks against Patrick Mahomes then. Today, the 49ers only managed 1 sack. That was from Nick Bosa. The Kansas City Chiefs, the year after, obviously they won that game, right? That was a game where the 49ers put 3+ good quarters on tape defensively, then they collapsed. But there was still a lot to build off of if you're the 49ers defense in that Super Bowl, and you could say, okay, well, next time maybe we'll play this play a little bit better, or maybe our offense will give us a little bit more support. And, if we come back in a couple of years, we play Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City again, we'll be able to win. That's what you could say as the 49ers. But today they put one good drive on tape. It was the first drive where Talanoa Hufanga delivered that interception. That was it. There was nothing else positive from this 49ers defense in this game. Now let's talk about what's changed since that Super Bowl. Kansas City returned to the Super Bowl to close the 2020 season after the win over the 49ers. They played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers overwhelmed them with their pass rush for a full 60 minutes in that game, right? You remember that when Kansas City only managed 9 points against the Buccaneers pass rush? Tom Brady won another ring. Well, Kansas City decided to clean house on their offensive line after that game. Kansas City has 5 new starters on their offensive line now from when they last faced the 49ers in that Super Bowl. It's a good offensive line. Orlando Brown, Joe Thuney, Creed Humphreys. I mean, these are good names. And that investment from Kansas City has truly paid off. I mean, their top 5 pass block win rate this year. And as we saw today, that Kansas City O-line is a whole lot better than the 49ers D-line. That 49ers D-line who pressured Matt Stafford 34 times, 35 times a few weeks ago on Monday Night Football. I mean, they completely terrorized the Rams. They've been terrorizing other teams. Last week I throw out because they didn't have Bosa. Whatever. They're playing on the road in Atlanta. We thought they would get healthier. They did get healthier today, and they got stonewalled by this Kansas City front. So to me, if you're looking at the 49ers and the bigger picture of this season, that was the most deflating, discouraging part of this. If you follow the 49ers, that the strength, the engine of their team did nothing. They gave up, let's see, what did Kansas City do on the ground against the 49ers? Kansas City picked up 112 rushing yards on 21 carries, 5.3 per carry. So they could stop the run. They moved Isaiah Pacheco as their starting running back, 216-pounder. You know what they wanted to do? Kansas City wanted to expose the 49ers up the middle because they don't have Eric Armstead. It was at this time last year that the 49ers were struggling to stop the run. So they moved Armstead from end to tackle full time, and that did the trick. They became the number one run defense in football. You earned the right to rush the passer. Everything turned around. Well, right now Armstead's hurt. We don't know when he's going to come back. Foot injury for Eric Armstead. So you see Pacheco, you see the adjustment from Kansas City to gash the middle. I don't think they gashed the middle, but they got enough yardage to completely take the steam out of the 49ers pass rush. Mecole Hardman ran to the edge. I mean, he had those big gains to the edge, 2 touchdowns to the edge for Mecole Hardman, including the 25-yarder where the 49ers just looked lost defensively. And that all sets the table, that rushing success sets the table for Patrick Mahomes, 25 of 34, 423 yards, a 132.4 rating, even with that one interception early. That's what I call scorched earth. I mean, 500-plus yards of total offense for Kansas City. Mahomes, 400-plus, rushing game, 100-plus. The 49ers just couldn't stop them. I mean, this was the worst defensive performance of the Shanahan-Lynch era, and the 49ers have way too much talent for me to be saying that right now, because this is not the 2017 or 2018 roster. They have Bosa. They have these guys on the roster. So I think the 49ers really need the Rams in that regard. The Rams' offensive line is terrible. The 49ers picked up 35 pressures and 8 sacks against them on Monday Night Football at the beginning of this month. And the Rams have only gotten more hurt since then. Joe Noteboom, their left tackle, got hurt. So as weird as it sounds, the 49ers really need to play the defending Super Bowl champions right now, because Kansas City had a great offensive line. The Rams don't. And I think that that's something that can help the 49ers get right next week. But in the larger picture, the 49ers have to get way better against a championship caliber team. And, I don't know if the Chiefs are a championship caliber team yet. They have a championship caliber offense, that's for sure. That's a championship caliber QB. The receivers are good. The O-line is obviously top 5, as the metrics indicate. But if the 49ers are intending to compete for a Super Bowl, then they're going to have to be able to beat a team that just kicked their ass today, right? That caliber of team. And the only way the 49ers are going to get on that level is if they get better along the fronts. And I'm going to talk about the offensive line, Jimmy Garoppolo, all that in a second. But the defensive line is where it starts for this team, the whole team, and especially the defense. And it obviously didn't start there today for the defensive line. Only 1 sack for the 49ers and Nick Bosa. It looked ugly on the back end too. I mean, they had a chance to get back into this game. Take the lead if the defense would have gotten a stop, but they didn't get any stops over the middle of the game. But they had one golden opportunity when Nick Bosa did register that only sack of the game. And then I think it was Valdez Scantling, or no, was it Smith-Schuster? I think it was Juju Smith-Schuster, third, and forever Patrick Mahomes just, throws it over everybody's head. Receiver is yards behind Charvarius Ward. I asked Charvarius Ward after the game, were you feeling okay with the groin? He said, yeah, I felt 100%. Trent Williams said he felt 100%, no rust after the high ankle. Nick Bosa said he felt 100%. That's what football players normally say. You have to wonder if there was a little bit of injury slowness for the 49ers because Charvarius Ward got picked on today. That wasn't good. So even when the 49ers had a chance to stop Kansas City and they got that sack, they got Kansas City behind the chains, the Chiefs blew off the top of the defense with that long throw. And I thought the 49ers offense actually did some good stuff. They came out of halftime with a long touchdown drive. They overcame some of their really bad penalties. There was some bad false start penalties early. They overcame a couple holding penalties to score a touchdown. And they got within 4 or 5 points there in the third quarter? Forgot exactly what the score was. But I mean, you're not going to win any games when your defense is giving up 44. The only, I mean, let me amend that. You will win a game like New Orleans 2019 when the 49ers won 48-46. But come on, this is supposed to, I mean, we thought that this defense was billing itself as an elite defense, and they definitely aren't that right now. I want to see the drive summary here. Drive summary, 49ers came out in the second half, 11 plays, 52 yards with a field goal. Then they got the ball back after Kansas City scored a touchdown, obviously, because it was touchdown, 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 touchdown for Kansas City. The 49ers went 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown from Garoppolo to Kittle. But the defense never was able to get a stop to pair with the 49ers score. And the most frustrating point came when Bosa got the sack, but Kansas City converted that 3rd and long. So just horrendous for the 49ers defensively. Again, those of you just joining, before garbage time, they gave up 10.2 yards per play. That is the worst performance of the Shanahan era. Worse than anything in 2017, worse than anything in 2018. At the end of the day, what was most surprising about today's failure was how bad the 49ers defense was. I know Patrick Mahomes can score. I know that the Chiefs can do this to teams. But compared to how the 49ers held them in check for most of the Super Bowl, compared to what we thought we knew about this 49ers defense, and knowing that they were getting players back, this defensive performance, for it to be worse than anything they posted in 17 and 18, that's, I mean, to me, that's the primary story in this game. Now, 49ers offense. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, we're already, 11 minutes into this, and this is the first mention of McCaffrey. We have to look at this in the big picture. And that is, they still have 10 games left. This was McCaffrey's first game. This offense has got a lot of weapons. McCaffrey today, 8 rushes, 38 yards. He still had a lot of juice. Those were the first 3 rushes. He was averaging 10 yards a pop. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's going to be a hell of a weapon and hell of an asset for this team. It should open stuff up for Jeff Wilson and the rest of the 49ers run game. At some point, they're going to get Elijah Mitchell back. But Deebo Samuel was essentially MIA today. In the receiving game, 5 catches, 42 yards. You need more production there. 1 rush, 2 yards. So he didn't have to really do anything on the ground, and that's good because Wilson and McCaffrey took that load for the 49ers. It's going to be a matter of congealing this offense together, taking all of these really capable weapons and turning this into a unit that's scoring at least 30 a game. 23 is not horrible, but again, we talked about the Chiefs' defense not being great. I don't think they were great. They had a good pass rush, we knew that, but there were ways to burn this Chiefs defense, and the 49ers kept on penalizing themselves. They turned the ball over too many times. One of the worst offensive plays of the game was the Jimmy Garoppolo interception at the red zone. The 49ers had a golden opportunity after Sky Moore fumbled, muffed the punt, and Jimmy Garoppolo on 3rd down. They ran a cover 0 blitz, and Jimmy Garoppolo's either got to throw that ball away or he's got to take the sack, and the 49ers need to settle for the field goal there and live to fight another day. Instead, they blew a chance at what I think would have been a big 3 points for momentum purposes in that situation, and the turnover hurt them. That being said, the 49ers didn't handle Kansas City's pressure nearly well enough. The safety saw Frank Clark just blow right by Trent Williams. I don't know if it's rust for Trent Williams or if that was just a bad play. He said it wasn't rust. He said that he felt good today, but you've got to protect better than that. And so many times, Garoppolo was 25-37, 303 yards for him, 2 touchdowns and that pick. So statistically, it wasn't a bad outing. And I think so many times Garoppolo took a massive hit, made it work with a nice throw downfield. I mean, he was not like high up on the 49ers list of problems today. I think the problems really started with the protection. You saw Steve Spagnuolo, who's Kansas City's defensive coordinator. He threw some complex blitzes at the 49ers that they really struggled to pick up in this game. Spagnuolo, Spencer Burford told me Spagnuolo throws the blitzes at most teams early in games and sees how they can handle it. He didn't throw it at the 49ers until a little bit later in the first half today, and they didn't handle it well. And you blame that on the line, and you could blame that on Garoppolo too. I blame the interception after hearing the comments from Shanahan and talking in the locker room, probably more on Garoppolo than anything. A veteran QB has to see that cover zero, has to get rid of that football. He tried to give Kittle a chance, but he got hit on the throw, so it ended up short and ended up being a pick. It's a team effort, right? So sometimes the line could do a better job picking something up. Sometimes the QB needs to bail out the line when they don't do a good job picking it up. Cover zero, line's going to have trouble picking it up. Jimmy Garoppolo has to get that ball away. But on the safety, Trent Williams has to slow down Frank Clark. You can't let Frank Clark run right around you. And there were so many other plays where the line was just giving up too much pressure. Too many hits. 8 quarterback hits in a game where Garoppolo was 2.41 seconds from snap to release. That's fast. That's too many hits to give up. So that's just bad football from the 49ers. The running game, 101 yards, 21 carries. I said Wilson and McCaffrey both had juice. And moving forward, the 49ers have a lot to be excited about if they can fix the minute details that are torpedoing them at the line of scrimmage. Because you have weapons. You have McCaffrey who, at some point, Shanahan said that McCaffrey is going to have the full game plan next week, which is great news for the 49ers. He didn't have the full game plan this week. He got about 20 snaps, right? But once he has the full game plan, he'll know the pass protections. They'll trust him out there on every single down. And he's going to be big on some of these downs where Jimmy Garoppolo drops back to pass. Offensive line struggles a little bit. And then the 49ers, need Christian McCaffrey for that outlet. And I think that's going to be something that's big moving forward. So they have to congeal everything. They have to bring it together. The Rams are a team that they normally get well against. And we'll see if they can do that this week. But summary is bad football. And the 49ers need to do a better job of playing good football. So it could all fall together. But we'll see if it does moving forward for the 49ers. They have to make sure those little things click as they have against the Rams before. Remember, it is a marathon and not a sprint. But today, the 49ers did not look good. Their backs are up against the wall, so they have to take this one personally and move forward against the Rams. Everybody take care.